WSCA Portsmouth Community Radio is proud to present It Takes a Village, Addiction Prevention and Recovery on the Seacoast, brought to you through the generosity of Newburyport Bank, the Willette and Furbush Family Trust, and Pine Tree Institute. For more information about WSCA and this series, please visit us at wscafm.org.
Usually never one child, it's 2, 3. We've helped a grandmother that took in 6. She lost her daughter. It seems so hopeless and so hard. Like, how does one family have so much hardship?
It helps us to keep doing the work, and it helps us to explain to people why it's important.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Mark Lefebvre, and I'm here again with another episode of It Takes a Village, Addiction, Prevention, and Recovery on the Seacoast. And I'm here with 2 very special people today. We're here for episode 10, which is going to talk about kinship caregiving and specifically Step Up Parents. And we're here today with Step Up Parents founder Denyse Richter and executive director Jessica Parker. Denyse and Jessica, how are you guys doing today?
Great, thanks.
Great, thank you.
So first, Denyse, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you came to conceive and get up and running Step Up Parents.
So I've lived on the Seacoast for 35 years. How I got into Step Up Parents was a very good friend of mine. She and her husband were raising their infant granddaughter while they were dealing with their own daughter's active addiction. And I was very struck by their daily struggles and on all levels, from all sides, and wanted to help. And I have zero background in nonprofits, but the financial piece seemed like the most logical. And in looking into this issue, it was often the most urgent need for these families when they take in these kids. So just set out to put together a group of people that volunteered to be our first board. Got some donations from family and friends and thought, if we help 10 families, won't that be great?
And when was this?
That was 2019. So we formed in 2018. We started helping families in 2019. And it has gone far beyond my wildest dreams. And to date, helped over 600 families, impacted over 1,000 kinship kids, and given over $325,000 in direct assistance. So like I said, it's just beyond my wildest expectations.
That's outstanding. And we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about what kinship caregiving is and kinship care. And we'll also talk about some of the things that have transpired over the last several years. But before we do that, let's talk to Jessica. Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Jessica Parker. I'm the new executive director at Step Up Parents. I've been with the organization about 5 months now, since the beginning of the year. My background is in nonprofit work and specifically nonprofit fundraising. I've worked with other agencies in the area, including Crossroads House in Portsmouth and Hope on Haven Hill out of Rochester.
Oh, our friends Carrie Norton and
Yes.
the gang.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my background really is in serving families that are greatly in need of assistance. And this mission spoke to me both personally and professionally. So I'm really excited to be on board.
Well, I'm sure, in full disclosure here, folks, I'm a former board member of Step Up Parents, and the organization, its board, and its team are very special to me. And as you'll learn from this podcast, it's a very, very noble and necessary, unfortunately necessary cause. So with all that said, so perhaps one or both of you can talk a little bit about, what is kinship care? Why is it necessary? Tell us a little bit about the dynamics by which these kids have landed or have been taken in by either grandparents, loved ones, neighbors, uncles, aunts, whatever, and kind of give us some background.
So kinship care can mean a lot of things. It is a family member or a fictive family member who is caring for a child. In our case, we are helping families who are providing kinship care for children who have parents with substance use disorder and have been placed in kinship care with a member of their family, be it an aunt, uncle, grandparent, and sometimes with friends of family who are considered to be family members.
And it's unfortunate that the parents of these children that are being taken in, they're either incarcerated, they're either in treatment, they're either AWOL, or unfortunately in some cases they've deceased. Is that true?
That's true. They could be any number of things. And we do see varying levels of parental involvement as well. Sometimes the parents are working towards reunification. Sometimes they are incarcerated, have passed away, or are unable to care for the children. So every request we receive is different, and every family is different, but all with the similar underlying substance use disorder that is making life hard for the family and specifically for the children we're trying to help.
What is the range of age, Denyse, for the kids that are being supported through the program?
I say a lot of them are infants. They get them in an emergency situation. Here's a newborn baby. And as you might imagine, because of the parental substance misuse, a lot of these babies have been affected by substances in utero, or they come from a traumatic home life. So these kids come sadly with a lot of baggage to these caregivers. But so yeah, we anywhere from infant till 18, maybe 20 years old, depending on the situation and the needs of the child, we've helped.
And so in the early years, you mentioned that Step Up Parents was in its first year just trying to raise money and trying to figure out, where the most important, where do we turn first in terms of supporting these families? What was that first year like?
It was all a learning experience. I had a good friend at the time that really kind of helped me get this off the ground. And then, like I said, our original board, we were all just rolling up our sleeves and learning as we went along, and learned of the agencies, the schools, family resources that deal with kinship families, and realized quickly that that was our best way to make the most impact. So we built that network of, we call them validators. They refer to families to us. So it's really any situation that someone works with a kinship caregiver. So we were able to expand beyond the Seacoast really quickly into all of New Hampshire because of that network of referring partners. And we just also learned that a lot of these needs are urgent. And so we just started responding and many times turning around an application within 48 hours. And we realized quickly that that was really important because time is of the essence. If the family car is in for repair and they have no way of paying for it, they need that today. Or their lights are going to be turned off if their bill isn't paid. They need that today. And so we learned that that was important, and we sort of made a promise that as an organization to always be able to be nimble like that and turn these around quickly. And we try to have little to no red tape. We make the application process super easy. These people have enough on their plate. So as long as they're walking the walk and they're taking care of these kids, whether it's informal or formal, we want to help them. And we really validate what they do, which we also learned when we help a family, we send them a letter of recognition saying, we paid for your Eversource bill. But we start with a thank you. Thank you for stepping up for these kids. They needed a hero, and you stepped in.
Wow.
And the gratitude we get for acknowledging them, validating what they're doing, it's so heartwarming. And it makes us, it makes you want to do more.
Right. Is this kinship caregiving concept a local thing, or is it regional, or is this something that is on a national level at this time?
So kinship care happens throughout the country. I will say that, our services are local, or New Hampshire.
The issue and the
Yeah.
problem of the challenge is on a national level,
Yes.
if not
So
international.
The issue is nationwide, and yes, kinship care is being provided nationwide.
Okay. So that's, that kind of sets the table in terms of what you're addressing as an organization. You talked about the early years, which is primarily about networking and developing a network of referral partners, validators, and so forth. So your catchment area, is it still only New Hampshire?
So we are actually serving all of the state of New Hampshire and currently York County, Maine as well. We are looking to expand our services within the state of Maine. So keep your ear to the ground. And the need is great, especially in the New England area.
I remember, again, full disclosure, I sat on the board when we had some of these discussions about whether or not we would cross the bridge, and hoping that we could do it in a incremental way so that we don't inundate our small nonprofit structure and infrastructure and volunteers to take on something that was a bit more than we could choose. So I'm very, very happy to see that you've expanded to Maine and that incrementally you're looking at testing things out, I guess, in the county of York and see how that plays out. How has that been received in Maine?
Really well. So we started with York last year. It's been a year. It was a year in May. And our next rollout, which is unofficially, is Cumberland County, which will probably be happening in the next month.
Of which Portland is the centerpiece.
It's the most varied population of all the state of Maine, that county. So I think we'll get a lot more applications.
Excellent. Wow. Do you measure yourself in terms of families served, children served, applications accepted? How do you kind of track the progress of Step Up Parents?
So that's an excellent question. I think there are many benchmarks that we can use, whether it is how many families or children we've served, how much assistance we've provided in a dollar amount can also be a good measure of our success. But we've grown tremendously since Denyse's initial goal of helping 10 families. So, and I think Denyse mentioned some of the statistics when we first started, but we're helping over 200 families per year now. So it's just really grown so much in the last 5 years, and it's exciting to see the growth. It feels wonderful to be able to provide the assistance, but also it speaks to the need for these services that up until 5 years ago didn't exist in the state. So
it seems like every time I open the paper or Seacoast Online, I see a picture of the two of you or in earlier days, Denyse, with a funding organization handing a check over. When I was on the board, it was clear to me that this is a very emotional cause for people, and that I had assumed at that time it wouldn't be difficult to meet the demands of people through either grants or private donors and so forth. Have you seen the interest on the part of philanthropists and grant writing organizations to support Step Up Parents over the year?
Yeah, so we're just, again, everything's been self-taught. We taught ourselves how to grant write, and we've had some wonderful grantors that have stayed with us and have given us year after year because they recognize this need, unfortunately, is not going away. And every year we add new ones, and so our number of donors has just gone up. And last year, in fact, we commissioned a fund development plan because this has sort of exceeded the original expectations, and we need to be sustainable in the future because as much as we're doing great as an organization, it's sad because we're doing well because the need is so great. And we fully intend to be out in front and have the funds to be able to help families.
So Step Up Parents is comprised of a board, an executive director, and I think there's some other part-time or per diem type of folks that are supporting it. What does the organization look like today?
So we have a board of directors who oversees the organization, and myself as the executive director. We have a part-time administrative and bookkeeping assistant, and then we do have some per diem or consults that work with us as well, doing some things like our bookkeeping or helping out with some of our marketing and things like that. But we're pretty lean, and I think that works well to our goal to try and turn things around very quickly for the families and to cut out that red tape so that they can get the help they need when they need it in a meaningful way. So.
Excellent. And what are some of the interventions that typically result in a referral? You said it's oftentimes very sudden, like a car breaks down, but do you do anything sort of, let's just say, in a non-emergency situation? For example, if the children are interested in joining a club or taking on a sport or things of that sort, or buying school clothes, is that all within your purview?
Yes. So we do have families who call and say, I need my electric bill paid today, or I need help with my rent or mortgage immediately, or I have a car repair. But also we receive a lot of requests for families who are looking to send their children to camp for the summer. We've received quite a few of those lately. And I want to say that is a very specific feel-good thing to be able to help provide for those children and for the family that's raising them.
I was going to say, it's probably
well.
giving them a break.
Yes, absolutely. So the requests really do vary. We try and work with either the family who's applied or the validator who has sent in the application to make sure that we are getting the help where it's going to be most useful for the family. And then we work to take care of payment as quickly as possible so that it's the most helpful that it can be very quickly.
And just to add, our model is we pay for things directly on behalf of the family. So we pay the summer camp for the family. We pay Eversource. So we don't give money directly to the families. And since we started, we've never turned away an application that met our criteria, meaning the parental substance misuse. And each family's needs are completely unique. So we meet them where they're at and help them the way that they need to be helped. Right. And it's like Jessica said, it's very gratifying. Every case is unique. I think the largest population that we serve, it's grandmothers. Grandparents as far as the largest segment as opposed to aunts, uncles, or family friend. And then if we break that down more, it's grandmothers in the age of like 55 to 70 that are doing this yeoman's work. And it's usually never one child. It's 2, 3. We've helped a grandmother that took in 6. She lost her daughter, sadly, to substance misuse.
So this is a long-term thing?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really, really sad. Kind of puts in perspective the sacrifice that the caregiver has to make at this point in their life.
Yeah, no one prepares for this.
Yeah, no one prepares for this. So you said that you have a number of different funding sources and so forth. Do you have an annual event that raises money, or do you primarily work the grant calendar and have an ongoing relationship with your donors so that you can kind of keep them in touch?
We do annual fundraising and grant writing, and as well, we've participated in some events that were run by other organizations. For example, we've been doing an annual Spinning for Generosity event, which has been wonderful. My wife Vivian has begrudgingly participated in that, not so much for the cause, but her legs aching the next day and so forth. So, but that's something that I've been keenly aware of. I'm excited for that this year, to be honest. Yeah. And we are working on putting together an annual fundraising event, hopefully to be taking place in March of 2025. Sort of a gala type of thing where, yes, the silent auctions, if you will, a raffle, perhaps a guest speaker or some level of draw. Yes, that's the intent. Yeah. So we have a small committee of board members who are working on that right now, and I am excited to start rolling that out. So, outstanding! Wow, Denyse, I'm looking over there at you behind the mic, and I'm thinking back to the first time I saw any reference to this. You were operating out of your dining room or your kitchen, and with papers and files and all kinds of stuff. And you just basically dove right in and grown this thing from a concept to something right now that's basically going to,
result in, I think, a nice legacy for you and your family. As somebody who knows you and the family, I'm very, very proud of the work, and I'm very touched by the work that you guys are doing. And Jessica, you seem to have embraced this thing on your part for the right reasons.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited to be coming on. This is actually this is a cause that is personal to me. My grandmother raised my cousin, so that really informed a lot of who I am today,
Sure.
Seeing that in action. And so Denyse actually spoke at my Rotary Club in 2019, and I remember thinking, this is amazing, and starting to follow the work that they were doing. So I was just so excited when I was able to come on and sort of help grow the organization a little bit further and keep doing the good work. It's important. These grandparents and family members are really doing the most important job of a lifetime, parenting a child, and especially when they were not planning on that at the time, and just love, caring, and helping these kids grow.
How do you keep in touch with these families, or do you keep in touch with these families, I should ask, on an ongoing basis? Some of them may come back to you more than once. Some of them may have the support that they need now, but you somehow maintain some sort of an emotional connection. How do you stay in touch with these families, if you do?
So to clarify, families can actually apply annually for assistance. So we do have families that do come back and say, I still need a little assistance with this, and we stay in touch by sending them regular communications. They receive our e-newsletters. We do reach out to them on occasion to ask how they are doing, to follow up. They'll reach out to us sometimes and say, I just wanted to let you know that this happened, or that because of the help that you provided, my child was able to do something wonderful. And so, but we do try to keep those lines of communication open. It's important. They're the reason we're doing what we're doing, and hearing from them and hearing about how they are doing, it helps us to keep doing the work, and it helps us to explain to people why it's important. So we do try and make sure we're keeping those lines open.
And then I just wanted to add I think the second year over the holidays, we decided to send each family that we had helped that year a $50 Walmart card. And at that time, that wasn't that many families. But like Jess said, we're over 200 families now a year. But that $50 that we sent unexpected to them, it just showed up with a note. You'd think we gave them $5,000. It just, again, just being there at the right time, we got the greatest thank yous of what we were able to buy Christmas dinner now, or I bought my grandson some Christmas pajamas and some stocking stuffers. And again, just from doing an experience, we feel like we have to always do this now, because it's a little bit, but it means so much to them.
That was going to be my next question. How do you deal with the holidays? But you just answered that. And yeah, there has to be something. First of all, it's unexpected for them. And second of all, really makes you guys feel as though you're making a difference. Wow. So this is not easy work. This is tough work. I've been working in this field for 12 years now. How does it affect you, and how do you take care of yourselves? I'll start with you, Jess.
So I have been doing nonprofit work for 15 years, and primarily working with folks who are experiencing homelessness or with substance use disorder, or both. And it is hard. It's hard to see every day. It's hard because you cannot help every single person who comes through your door. I think the way I take care of myself is by remembering that if you help one person, that has changed the whole world for one person.
It's a ripple.
It is. And if you help one person in one family, that helps the whole family. And taking care of myself outside of what I do for work, I love to read and sit by the water. It's very relaxing. But really, I think I do end up immersing myself in other committees or boards, or doing things to help out in the community, because there's just so many areas of need. So,
yep, you're absolutely right. Good for you. Denyse, how does this affect you, and how do you take care of yourself?
I mean, it affects me. It's sad. I mean, honestly, some applications, and Jess can attest to this, we review them and you cry. It's just, it seems so hopeless and so hard. Like, how does one family have so much hardship? And you feel like we're just a speck of sand on the beach, because as far as the amount of help that we can give. But to Jess's point, we do what we can, and it means a lot to them. So we have always called these kinship caregivers heroes, and our motto is even heroes need a hand. And I have been blessed to meet some of the most inspiring people through this work. So the work really fills my soul. And how I take care of myself is we hired Jess.
Yeah, sharing the love.
Yeah, it was in a great way, but it had become too much. It was all I did. And again, this was all self-taught. And so we realized as an organization, it was time to call in someone with real nonprofit experience and executive director qualities. And we're so blessed to have Jess to kind of take the reins now. And so it's actually renewed me, because I got to step back a little from the day-to-day stuff and can kind of think more big picture.
That is really, really hard to do. Good for you for recognizing the fact that there are needs of the organization that I'm either not trained or skilled or really not, I'll say it, interested in doing at this point in your life. But my point is, I respect you for being able to take a step back and do what you think is best for the organization and for the people you serve while still staying connected. And as somebody who's had to make that decision when we opened Safe Harbor, that was really difficult for me to do. And similarly, I imagine it was difficult for you to do, but it seems like it was the right decision.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. The organization's in good hands.
Excellent. Well, good for you, Jessica. All right. So how do you keep up with the demand for services? In other words, do you have an annual plan? You're expecting to take in X amount of dollars, and as a result of that, with your average gift, you can serve X number of families. Is it any more complicated than that?
No, not really. We have an annual budget that's created at the beginning of every fiscal year that informs what we anticipate the needs will be, what the overall costs of running the organization will be, and then minding that as we're going along. I will say that we're 100% funded by donations, whether they are grant funding or private donations or corporate donations. So our ability to provide assistance to families is directly correlated with our ability to receive assistance from the community. And so that is vitally important for us to continue doing the work that we do. And that is something that we keep in mind when we're creating an annual budget.
Where can people find more information as regarding Step Up Parents, and specifically on ways that they can participate and help?
So people can find us online at www.stepupparents.org. Our website is very comprehensive and has information for people who are both looking to help the organization or looking for help from the organization. That's really a great place to start. We do have our applications for assistance all online, and they're very simple and meant to be that way so that people can get help easily and quickly. And also there is information on our website about the organization, our history, where we are, where we're going, and information about how to donate or provide assistance should someone want to.
And follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, so you are on socials?
Yes.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Spread the word. Is there an event coming up, a fundraising event, a drive, a capital campaign, anything like that coming up that maybe we should be aware of, given that this podcast is in May of 2024 and somebody might be listening to it a couple of months from now? It may or may not be relevant, but is there anything that you guys have coming up that perhaps we can help with?
So we'll be participating in New Hampshire Gives in the beginning of June. It's a statewide day of giving, 24 hours, the first week of June, and we will be one of the organizations that donors can provide assistance to.
Is that the one where New Hampshire Charitable matches?
So there are matching gifts available through New Hampshire Charitable Foundation and other donors. There are prizes for different things like first gift at 5 p.m. on the first day or things like that.
So it's truly a 24-hour
It truly is a 24-hour fundraising event. If you want more information about New Hampshire Gives, you can find that at newhampshiregives.org, and you can find us through that website as well and follow our fundraising page there and give during New Hampshire Gives.
And also in December, we've been invited back, thankfully, to Spinning Generosity. So if you look on our website or follow our social media, you'll see a lead up to that. And that's a big fundraiser to end the year, so people can help that way.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there anything else that you guys would like to share that we haven't covered yet that I might have missed?
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you for having us. We're really grateful to be able to share our mission with the community, and we're happy to speak with anyone who has any interest in helping the organization, needs assistance, or just wants to learn more about Step Up Parents. Please feel free to reach out.
And thank you guys both for coming in here this afternoon. We've been talking to Denyse Richter and Jessica Parker from Step Up Parents. And as a family service, they are one of the many services that we've been highlighting through our podcast series, It Takes a Village, Addiction, Prevention, and Recovery in the Seacoast. And recovery is not only for individuals, it's for families, and it's for the community. So thank you both again, ladies.
Thanks,
Mark.
This has been an episode of the podcast series, It Takes a Village, Addiction, Prevention, and Recovery on the Seacoast. The series is produced by Mark Lefebvre and Canty Smith and is engineered by Robbie McCluskey, Miles Bebbington, and Carrie Richardson. Gabrielle Lamontagne and Jim Gosling provide marketing and social media support. This podcast is made possible through the generosity of Newburyport Bank, the Willett and Furbush Family Trust, and Pine Tree Institute. WSCA is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization and relies on the support of our listeners and underwriters. For more information on how to become a member or underwriter, please visit us at WSCAFM.org.